What's up, boys and dudes? Welcome to my 2024 in the bag. I want to show you what I'm going to be throwing and give you a little bit of a flight demonstration. Just so you know, I only gave myself 2 throws with each disc. That way, that was kind of being fair and true. Some of them are shanks, but you're going to have to take my word on it sometimes for how these fly, because I might not have been throwing the best today. Let's jump right into it with putting putters. Right now I am putting with the Discmania Link. I have a Exo Hard and a Lumen Link. I really like the Link for small, shallow hands. It's got a little bit of bead. Helps me put my hand right where I need to get that little bit of pop. The Lumen one is starting to get beat in, and I occasionally throw it. I know that kind of makes me a sick freak, but I really like it for a little bit of nice short approach shots. For throwing putters right now, I going from kind of least stable to most stable outside of the length that I'll throw. I'm throwing a Watt. I really like this for dead straight shots or throwing a little turn, and it'll never come out of that turn if you throw a little bit on it out of your hand. Super great for my throwing putters. Comfortable distance, comfortable is probably 280 max. Occasionally you'll crank one over 300, but I try not to do that. I'll just go to a mid-range if I need more than 280. Watt, really great for straight turnovers. A little bit more stable is this Glow Envy. I really like this Envy. It's really nice, still pretty stable. I can get some really good forward push while it's hyzering out or while it's fading at the end of its flight. Really like this. When it gets warm, this might become a little grippy, little tacky, but little chalk on the hand and you'll be all right. And then I have 2 pigs for my approach disc / throwing putter. The first one is a KC Pro Glow Nexus pig. Very glidey for a pig. You know, sometimes this one will get 285. I think I got on today's test throws with it. It glows really well. It'll start glowing in the daylight. In fact, because this has spent a little bit of time in the sun in the bag, it's almost starting to look like gray, and it started pure white. KC Pro, really great. A little bit more durable than R Pro for pigs, and it's really starting to beat in where like the dome is going away and it's getting that true pig feel. And then my really overstable pig is this Blizzard Champion old pig, this old Innova Blizzard Champion pig, which is so nice. Really love this thing. Does not go much over 255 for me. Doesn't dump, but it will start sinking, much like a very stable pig will. In all fairness, the pig is sort of on the chopping block for me because of the banger zone. I absolutely love the way it feels backhand and forehand. I got small hands and it just kind of grips real good for me, and it flies like an in-between of those 2 pigs, and it's a little bit faster, so pretty cool. At some point I might go bang top zone and Luna in place of those pigs, but who knows, it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna be mad either way. All right, let's jump into mid-ranges. My most understable mid-range that I typically carry in the bag is a Finish Line Supra. This one's a first run. When it's cold, this forged plastic will start off really stiff. When it gets warm, it becomes nice and grippy and tacky. Some people like that, some people don't. If you get any turn of this out of the hand, it's gonna burn over. But if you have a nice tailwind, like I did while throwing today, it'll stand up and just glide all the way out to 325 pretty easily. It's definitely my farthest flying mid-range in the bag. If I ever need something that's more understable, once in a while I might pop an uplink in the bag, but I kind of don't because the Supra is really nice and I have a lot of backups for it. I then have this Z Buzzz, which is finally starting to break into be laser straight. This will really be true distance for mid-ranges, kind of top out in that 315, 320 range. If I'm being honest, I don't usually get much more than that out of my mids. Really like the Buzzz. Doesn't turn much, doesn't fade much, just kind of throws and sits. Really good for straight shots, really good for hyzers. And some people are gonna think I'm crazy because right now I'm also messing around with a hex. Why would you have a Buzzz and a hex in the bag? No idea. Pretty much the same thing right now. I just have this feeling that this is going to beat in wildly fast and much faster than that Buzzz, and is going to have a little bit more turn out of it, and occasionally will go about 4 to 5 feet further, but it does not have a permanent place in the bag quite yet. A little bit more stable than the hex and Buzzz is this Matrix. I have really come to enjoy throwing this disc. It's really great because it's the most of its flight is going to be similar to like a Buzzz or a hex, but its end flight will start fading. So you know, you get that once it gets to that 300 feet, it goes and fades out instead of kind of just dropping and sinking. So really nice. And I also like this for flick shots for 200 feet straight, and you need it to finish 4 feet to the right. Super great. Love this disc. Super shallow, feels nice in my baby hands. A step up is the Beef Quake. I really love this SP Quake. It is a great flyer. It is nice and overstable. I've heard that some Quakes can get a little flippy, but you know, for that 305, 310 foot shot that you want to hyzer out at the end and not really flinch too much at the wind, really like the Quake. Probably once this starts breaking in, or if I lose it, probably gets replaced with a Pyro. My most overstable mid is the Deflector, and I love throwing a mid-range that is super crazy overstable. I mean, thrown flat, I'm impressed if I can get 270 out of it. Flex 295, but there's really like 3 occasions in which this ends up being thrown all the time during a round, right? Wind, woods, or if you're playing from short tee pads, something that's wildly overstable has the ability to create and carve lines through the woods like other discs just don't, because you can just rip them over and they're gonna come back. I really love the Deflector, super cool, a lot of fun to throw too. At some point I need to put a sick die on that one. That's it for the mid-ranges. Let's move on to fairway drivers. Typically, comfortable distance for my fairway driver tops out about 350, 360. We'll start with our understable fairway drivers. I have 2 Craves. I have really come to enjoy throwing this disc. I have this Crave, insanely understable. It's the most understable Crave that I've ever thrown. And it's my go-to tailwind disc. I threw this one 380 today in a tailwind without too much horrible effort. So I hate throwing in tailwinds, so a nice slower fairway driver that's really understable is about the easiest way that you are going to comfortably get distance in a tailwind. Super flippy, kind of like leopard-ish. And then this Neutron, this Cosmic Neutron Crave has a little less turn, but it's starting to break in where I'm not too familiar with that turn point. So I have a tendency to once in a while burn this over. But it's not as flippy as this one, so I need to make sure that I'm constantly popping it up on a little hyzer because it's gonna turn. And if I throw it on a hyzer, it'll pop up, turn, and come out. But as it's breaking in, I need to remind myself of that release point. Moving on up in stability is my favorite fairway driver of all time. It is the Westside Discs Longbowman. I think this disc is easily the most underrated disc in the fairway driver world, period. And for me, it flies exactly like an eagle. They're just a little bit flatter. In fact, I brought an eagle out just to show a similar flight. Really nice to throw these about 340, 350. I can pop a little turn of them out of the hand, they're gonna come back. I got one that's a little bit more beat in. This is probably the disc that I've owned the longest, and it still holds up pretty good. Will definitely turn quite a bit into a headwind, and then we got a brand new one in the bag, tournament plastic. I expect this one to break in pretty fast, and once it does, it probably gets cycled on the shelf to replace this once it finally dies, and I'll pop a new VIP one in. Absolutely love the Longbowman. If you like eagles, but you don't want dome, this is the perfect disc for you. It's an eagle without any dome, and it's a great 7-speed, even though the flight numbers say it's 9. It's a 7-speed disc. Really great, really amazing fairway driver. My Firebird slot right now is an Infinite Discs Scepter. I really love the Scepter. Does not quite have as much overstability as a genuine brand new Firebird, and this one is really starting to break in. So I'm about to cycle in a new one. I think I'm gonna go with a Color Glow Scepter. But this one is just incredible. Today I think I was hitting about 345 with it. So obviously it's breaking in pretty good. Scepters are great if you don't throw super far, but you want a Firebird-esque disc. The Scepter is a Firebird, but they flatten its top. Gives it a really nice, amazing flight. Super big fan of the Scepter, and I'm super excited to throw a Color Glow one in so that I have a little bit more meat on the bone. I have two hybrid drivers right now, and they're both Eras. I have this forged special edition Era, which is brand new to my bag. I had to cycle out the old Era because it became way too understable, but these white ones seem to be money so far because they don't break in to get too crazy understable. These hybrid drivers are really kind of my go-to for that 350, 360 range, or if I have a really low ceiling, they punch through faster than my Craves and Longbowman. And once this breaks in, it could easily see 380s, 390s. Eras go really far. I really genuinely love this disc, and I have a composite one as well. This one is 100% on the chopping block. With my broken-in Scepter flying the way it does, I'm not sure if I have a good reason to bag this one. So it might get shelved, and I might cycle in something else. I don't know yet, but it might be a Thunderbird. I don't actually know yet, so we're gonna see. This might get cycled out for a Thundy. I have one, before we move on to true distance drivers, I have one, I have one utility disc that I've been playing around with a little bit recently, and that is the Metal Flake Max. This one's double stamped with the Thunderbird, but it is absolutely a max, and this thing is so much fun to throw because it is very stable and it likes to slow down fast. So if you need 300 feet and you have a 30-mile-an-hour headwind, the Max, no problem. It'll sniff it for a second, decide whether it wants to hang out or not, and then it'll fade out, even in the face of a crazy headwind. So much fun to throw. You can rip it over, you can chop it over on forehands. It's got that big, flat flight plate, so it's my go-to right now for thumbers, Tommies. A lot of fun to throw. Doesn't necessarily have a permanent place in the bag, but it's just a disc that I have fun with. That's kind of the most important thing to me. All right, on to distance drivers. Today I was capping out at about 418, 420 feet, so I also threw one 320 feet today on accident. So kind of still in that noodle arm range, but we're working on it. I hate throwing distance drivers into a tailwind. I just won't do it, but I tried to today just to give you a good demonstration of kind of how they'll fly. I have two 11-speed drivers right now. The first is I popped a brand new finish line interval in the bag. I had one that I just lost, kind of annoying, but this forged plastic should break in. super quick, super-ish quick, so it should go dead straight and turn a little bit pretty soon. Right now it's not, but give it 2 weeks, couple tree hits, and it'll fly real nice. And I have this Infinite Discs Czar. I've really come to love the Czar, especially these Halo ones that come out really stable, for just absolute smacked 5 feet off the ground, you know, headwind shots. Really nice. Won't go as far as some of my faster speed discs, and it's got a blunt nose, almost like that Max, but nice little pop on it. It's just a beautiful disc. I really like the way it flies. It likes to slow down faster than my max distance drivers. So it's nice to have an 11 speed that I know is not gonna go as far as my higher speed discs. My go-to all-time favorite distance driver is the Millennium Scorpius. If you want a overstable destroyer that's beat in, kind of right off the shelf, the Scorpius is for you. It's easily the best distance driver, I think, that's on the market today. And I think it really should be the standard that a lot of other distance drivers try to live up to when it comes to workhorse drivers that are going to be kind of straight, won't pan left or right too far. This yellow one, you know, that star plastic is a little bit more stable than this Color Glow one, but this Color Glow one is probably my furthest flying disc right now. It's the one I was hitting 418, 420 with. It needs a stencil here soon. I can't say enough good things about the Scorpius. They've all typically have a nice healthy little dome. They don't necessarily go left or right a whole lot, so you can throw them any and they will just go forever. My last 2 distance drivers also come from Millennium. I think Millennium makes the best distance drivers on the market, and it's really nice because you can get a Scorpius, you can get a Quasar, and you can get a Falcon, and each one of them is fast and does a little bit different things. So understable is Falcon. This one gets a little bit more turn than a Scorpius. So if I want to throw a big hyzer, you know, 350 to 360 foot hyzer, and I want it to put a lot of air underneath it, I'm gonna go with the Falcon over the Scorp because it's got a little bit of that stand up to it. If I'm facing a headwind, I'm gonna go with the Quasar. I really like this disc. It's faster than my Czar, so it's going to be better for my weak forehand. It seems to have some boss DNA in it. Obviously, live long and prosper, die on it. Really love this disc for headwind shots, for big skips to the left, for flicks that I have no worries about chopping over. The city's replacing my swirl main right now, so a lot of fun. Can't say enough things about the Scorp, the Quasar, and the Falcon. Those are my kind of max distance discs right now. Nobody cares about what else I have in my bag because it's towels and a rangefinder. Surprise, and a chalk bag. All those other things that are pretty common. Thanks a bunch. If you think there's a specific gap in my bag that you have a recommendation for, I'd love to hear your comments. If you throw any of these molds, I'd love to know which of them you throw, especially with the Longbowman, and what you think I should replace this arrow with, because I've been falling out of love with it a little bit in the past 2 weeks, and my Scepter does that job pretty well. Thanks so much for watching, appreciate you, and we're gonna catch you in the next one.